Really? Where was the house? The house was in San Francisco and the third floor had a ghost that many people saw. Sharon Stone lost her son in the cruelest way possible. During the custody hearing, the judge asked her 4-year-old boy if he knew his mother made sex movies. She called it abuse. After surviving a stroke that nearly killed her, her husband Phil Bronstein filed for divorce and took primary custody. She ended up in the Mayo Clinic because her heart literally broke. She lost her savings, her home, and her family. Now, decades later, Sharon is finally ready to say goodbye. But the real reason behind her decision will shock you to your core. Sharon Stone was born on March 10, 1958 in a small Pennsylvania town called Mayville. Wasn't a glamorous place. Kids drove tractors to school and families hung deer carcasses from swing sets after hunting trips. Her parents, Dorothy and Joseph, worked hard but struggled with money. Dorothy was an accountant. Joseph worked long shifts in a factory till they scraped together enough to start a small tool and die business, and her father even hired a woman as his only employee. Sharon was the second of 4 children. She was different from the start. Her IQ was reportedly 154. She skipped a grade and entered 2nd grade. Just 5 years old. Her dad didn't want her to play small. If she lost a game to the boys, he'd pull her aside and ask, "Why aren't you winning?" He believed in her more than anyone, but things at home weren't safe. Sharon later revealed that she and her sister were sexually abused by their grandfather. That pain stayed hidden for years until she spoke out in her memoir, The Beauty of Living Twice. And when she was just 14, she broke her neck while riding a horse. The animal panicked and charged into a clothes line. Could have killed her, but she survived. By 15, she graduated high school and earned a writing scholarship to Edinburgh State College. That same year, her uncle handed her $100 and told her to enter the Miss Pennsylvania beauty contest. She showed up wearing a white bedsheet turned into a dress with a cape while the other girls wore gowns. She didn't win, but one of the judges told her she had something special and should try modeling. That comment flipped a switch in her. She dropped out of college and moved to New York City to become a model. Her mother had seen the famous agent Eileen Ford on TV, so they bought 2 bus tickets and went to the Ford model's office with no appointment. They asked to speak with Ford directly. The moment Eileen Ford saw Sharon in the lobby, she said something brutal. She wanted to bounce the fat off her. Sharon wasn't overweight. She was normal, but the modeling world was ruthless. Most of the top models were tall and impossibly thin. Still, Sharon didn't walk away. She signed with Ford and started working in Paris and Milan. By 19, she was back in New York, ready to try something even tougher, acting. In 1980, she packed a suitcase, took her savings, just $300, and moved to Los Angeles. She left behind a successful modeling career for a shot at something uncertain. She had no connections and no promise of work. Rent was expensive. Auditions were brutal, but she went anyway. She was 22 years old in Allen. That same year, she got her first small role with Woody Allen in Stardust Memories. She was just 19 when she started working with him. Later, during controversies about Allen, she said clearly that he was always kind, professional, and encouraging. In interviews, she credited him with helping her get her start. She did, however, mention that another producer once suggested she sleep with a co-star to help with chemistry, but it wasn't Allen. The next few years were filled with forgettable films and TV shows. In Stardust Memories, she played an extra who blew a kiss from a train. In Deadly Blessing, she had her first speaking role in a scene involving a spider. Critics called her performance stiff. She appeared in Irreconcilable Differences in 1984 and in King Solomon's Mines in 1985. She popped up on Magnum PI and TJ Hooker too. Casting agents said she had presence, but her roles didn't show her real talent. Then came Total Recall. She wanted the role of Lori, the woman who pretends to be the hero's wife and turns into his enemy. First she was rejected, but she didn't walk away. Sharon saw something others didn't. The part needed someone bold and physically strong, someone who could hold their own against Arnold Schwarzenegger. She knew she could do it. When she finally got in front of director Paul Verhoeven, their energy clicked. The audition was physical, loud, and full of movement, and she nailed it. Still, timing was tight. In 1989, just before Total Recall, she almost gave up acting for good. She was out of money. After nearly 10 years in Hollywood, her bank account was empty and she thought about moving back to Pennsylvania. Modeling had been safe. Acting had nearly ruined her, but she stayed. She pushed through one more year of struggle. Then Total Recall changed everything. Sharon Stone was never supposed to be the star of Basic Instinct. For 8 long months she chased the role of Catherine Tremel, while the studio looked everywhere else. They didn't want her. Not even close. In her own words, they didn't want me. And things got worse when she clashed with Michael Douglas at the Cannes Film Festival. He shouted at her across a crowd, "What the hell do you know?" That one line, yelled in public, made it clear he wanted nothing to do with her. He even refused to do a screen test with her. But Paul Verhoeven saw something the others didn't. He watched her audition and stood in for Douglas during the reading. What she gave him wasn't just a performance. It was electric, raw, dangerous. She became Catherine in front of his eyes. And despite all the noise, despite the resistance from the studio and her future co-star, Verhoeven made his choice. That one decision would change her life forever. But it came at price. The leg crossing scene. Everyone knows it. Everyone remembers. But Sharon Stone said she didn't know what would actually be shown. She believed the shot would be discreet. She was told it wouldn't show anything. But in the projection booth, when she saw the final cut, she realized the truth. She slapped Verhoeven in the face. That time, showing that much on screen would earn an X rating. And under Screen Actors Guild rules, filming up a dress without consent wasn't even legal. But even after learning all that, she made a choice. She could have had it removed. She didn't. She kept it in. She didn't do it because she felt powerless. She did it because she knew as a filmmaker that the scene worked. That moment made her famous. It also followed her like a shadow. She once said, "It made me an icon, but it didn't bring me respect." And that sums it up. When Basic Instinct came out in May 1992, it didn't just start a conversation. It started a war. Religious groups sent her death threats.